Right now at 6, the CPKC holiday train rolls into town to support Webb City Cares.
And we've got wintry weather beginning to roll into town across the region. Some winter weather advisories in place. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, as the weather gets colder, a Missouri teen has made it her mission to make sure people have what they need to stay warm. Now she started her own nonprofit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Monday, December the 1st, and it wouldn't be December without some wintry weather, and we are getting it. It's appropriate that it's on the 1st of December, considering that, since September, things have not been average. They haven't been on par for where we should be for this time of year.
But today really feels like December. Not only outside, but I have my red dress on for the holiday season. You have a sweater on. We have Toy Box toys behind us.
Yes, because we got Toy Box Tuesday tomorrow, our first telethon of the season. This is 37 years of doing this. Very incredible and very excited about that. And I hope you're excited about the snow. If you're excited about school being canceled, I've got some disappointing news. It's not very likely for most of us out there. We're not quite to that point yet, but of course we'll get through the season and see what happens. Let's start with our live look from downtown Pittsburgh. Again, we've had snow showing up on the Skywatch Storm Tracker in the Pittsburgh area, but as you can see, there's really not much showing up, and we'll tell you why in just a second. Our camera, 7th and Range Line, similar situation out there, showing some snow showers pushing into West Joplin. And so what we've got across a good portion of the area, at least for now, is we have dry air that's in between the clouds and the ground. And so we're seeing snow on radar because it's reaching high enough up to see it, but then as it falls, it's reaching that dry air and evaporating before it reaches the ground. But it won't do that all day. We will start to eventually see some of that snow reaching the ground. KDOT camera at 69 just north of Baxter Springs. Take a look. You saw it. I know you did. There's a couple of flurries starting to go by out there, so we are now, at least from this KDOT camera, starting to see a couple of flurries. I don't see a lot. There's one just behind me. Okay, so we're starting to see it make its way down. KDOT camera 69 and 400 looking along 171 heading back toward Missouri. Hard to tell here, but not seeing anything. But again, further south where the air isn't as dry, we should start to see a little bit more of that snowfall. MoDOT cameras around the metro area, not seeing much out there as of yet. But again, that will begin to change. Our biggest concern with the snow today is not with heavy accumulation or blizzard-like conditions or anything like that. What we're looking more so is just impacts on travel, slick spots on roadways, especially bridges and overpasses. So this is what I was talking about with all of what's showing up on the radar. It's just now starting to fall to the ground up in the Kansas City area. As for us, we've got kind of that dry air from right about here, but that dry air will begin to retreat on out of here, and more of this snow will start to make its way up into our area. We do have some winter weather advisories. Our northwestern counties in southeast Kansas through 6. And this is more so because you could actually get a couple of inches of snow up here, so the travel impact's expected to be maybe a little higher, so do be careful. As for northeastern Oklahoma, these ones run through noon today at this point, but they are again mainly for the travel impacts because down around the Tulsa area they were starting to get reports of slick spots on bridges and overpasses, so that's why we really want you to be careful. We're sitting at 26 in Joplin, 27 in Pittsburgh. It is cold out there. Most of us in the mid to upper 20s. Now down south, look, Jay now is up to 31. You could see briefly a transition to rain in parts of northeastern Oklahoma if you warm up just a hair above freezing. But for most of us, it should be a freezing rain, sleet, and snow kind of wintry mix. Future track again showing some of that rain chance out there, but it will be brief. As we head through the afternoon and evening, temperatures start to fall back a bit more. We see a transition to just straight up snow. And as we get into the drive home, some of that snow could be heavy. Again, it won't accumulate, won't stick much, but it could be a bit heavy. So you want to be cautious as you're heading out, especially to the afternoon and evening hours. Kids out the door, most of us cloudy, still some flurries starting to build in. 27, we'll go about 30 for lunch and recess, and 31 as they head home with that wintry mix out there. And again, temperatures really for the most part don't move a lot. We're upper 20s, low 30s through the majority of the day until we eventually start to clear out and cool down tonight. Winds expected to be calm. We're going to talk more about this snow, take a look at it as it pushes in, and talk about what happens after the snow here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Residents in Commerce, Oklahoma feel the heat from across the street as a house was consumed by flames. Video sent to KOAM.
On initial response, we had fire probably going 200-300 foot in the air.
A massive plume of smoke over downtown St. Louis, flames lighting up the sky of Choteau's Landing. Nearly 200 firefighters battling to keep this enormous multi-building fire from spreading. Fire crews were called out about 2:30 Friday morning, the blaze quickly becoming a 5-alarm fire due to the sheer amount of water needed to contain the flames.
It shut a lot of electric down in the area because we had heavy wires coming down, so we did shut all that down.
The buildings at the heart of this were once the historic Crundon Martin Manufacturing Company. For decades, Crundon Martin churned out metal goods, including helmets for the war effort in the 1940s. But the company went bankrupt in the 90s, and the complex has sat vacant ever since.
There's a lot of combustible products in these buildings, all the floors and all the old timber. It's going to burn a while.
The building was set to be part of a riverfront development plan by the Good Development Group. The group releasing a statement Friday saying in part, while it's too early to know the full extent of the damage or the long-term implications for the project, our commitment to this area and to St. Louis has not changed. Fire officials told us they did have to help a number of unhoused people out of the building. Remarkably, no injuries have been reported so far. In the meantime, fire crews will be working around the clock as the fire is expected to burn until Sunday. Caroline Hecker, First Alert 4.
Well, despite the rain, the holidays officially rolled into the 4 states this weekend. The CPKC holiday train made stops in both Pittsburgh and Joplin to help get the season underway. The 2025 CPKC holiday train tours Canada and the United States through December 21st, raising money, food, and awareness to support food banks across the communities it visits, like Webb City Cares. Attendees are encouraged to bring non-perishable items to the free, family-friendly stops. The holiday train turns a boxcar into a stage for a live concert featuring artists like Smash Mouth and J.J. Wild. And despite the weather, community members gathered in Pittsburgh for the annual tree lighting ceremony. The free event, hosted by the city and downtown Pittsburgh, took place at the Pritchett Pavilion. The holiday program featured the tree lighting, photos with Santa, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and others. The 20-foot tree will remain up throughout the holiday season for the whole community to enjoy. As the weather gets colder, a Missouri teen has made it her mission to make sure people have what they need to stay warm. Claire Bradshaw reports from Kansas City.
Blue Springs teen Reagan Galloway works hard every winter. She is a nonprofit, Kang the Cold, a softball term meaning to strike out the cold. She collects cold weather items for people in need. Reagan then gives those to other nonprofits like Shelter KC and Many Parts One Body so they can focus their resources elsewhere.
When I was 9, I learned about a family member that didn't have the best childhood and didn't have a bed to grow up on, to sleep on. And so we were talking about it. We're sitting at the dinner table. I was like, yeah, I really want to help people. We just started with blankets and sleeping bags. And so as we've grown, we've done more things like gloves, stocking hats, socks, and sometimes even hand warmers.
Just in her first year, Reagan collected 132 blankets, and this year she has a goal of 6,000 items with a garage full of donations to show it. Reagan's mom, Christy, is her manager, but also one of her biggest supporters.
She has talked about wanting other kids to get involved, so we officially started an ambassador program. We became a nonprofit last year, so our board approved this to where other kids can essentially go and fundraise, and if they're in other parts of the states, they can identify organizations that they want to support and donate to as long as it falls into our missions.
Even including little kids, 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds, and just having them help. It's showing them what the world kind of looks like outside of what they have.
That's a look at this morning in weather, top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets with Ukrainian negotiators in Florida, pushing for peace. Plus, from baby animal watch to police horse chases, the week's most interesting stories. And winter weather conditions in the 4 states with potential snow chances. Chris has a look at your weekly forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, a U.S. delegation led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Ukrainian negotiators in Florida on Sunday in an attempt to hammer out a deal that will bring Russia's war with Ukraine to an end. This comes as U.S. delegation prepares to travel to Russia on Monday for more talks. CBS News' Torian Small is in Washington with details.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Ukrainian negotiators in Florida on Sunday in a push for peace aimed at ending the war sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We want to see the end of the killing and the death and the suffering, and I'm sure the Ukrainian side, I know they do as well, they want peace. But it's also about securing an end to the war that leaves Ukraine sovereign and independent.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, also represented the U.S. during Sunday's talks. They're expected to travel to Moscow on Monday. Also, over the weekend, President Trump escalated threats of military force against Venezuela, declaring on social media that the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela should be considered closed. While the U.S. can't unilaterally close another country's airspace, the Federal Aviation Administration has been warning airlines for weeks to avoid the area due to increased military activity. When faced the nation, lawmakers from both parties expressed concern over possible U.S. military intervention in Venezuela, as well as U.S. strikes on vessels that officials accuse of smuggling drugs, often without evidence, killing dozens of people.
I will move with colleagues Senator Schumer, Senator Paul, Senator Schiff immediately should there be military action.
There is a buildup that the president has not explained in a way that relates solely to the actions that are currently going down in the Caribbean. It is certainly a significant concern in Congress.
The president has said future attacks on Venezuela would not be limited to boats. Torian Small, CBS News, Washington.
On Sunday evening, President Trump told reporters he believes there's, quote, a good chance the U.S. can help make a deal to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Still to come, dropping temperatures make you want to drop onto the couch. Experts say winter exercise and healthy eating remain critical for your health. Plus, winter weather conditions in the 4 states with potential snow chances. Chris has a look at your Monday forecast. The National Zoo is on baby watch. A horse gets in a hoof race with police officers, and we show off a strange house doubling as a shrine to a hit Netflix show. Patrick Cornell looks back at the week's best stories.
Take a look at the week we had. This ultrasound giving us a sneak peek at the Asian elephant calf expected to be born at Smithsonian's National Zoo in early 2026. Staff are carefully monitoring Mama, Ni Lin, to keep the pregnancy on track. Ni Lin is voluntarily taking part in prenatal ultrasounds to allow keepers to track the calf's fetal development, heartbeat, and movement. If all goes as planned, this would be the first Asian elephant calf born at the zoo in nearly a quarter century. Staff say they are cautiously optimistic they'll see that new baby elephant next year. Check out some cops hoofing it in hot pursuit of a super fast stallion. Monroe Township, New Jersey PD say they got a call about the horse they've dubbed Seabiscuit to protect its real identity. The horse naturally took off when approached, and an officer did his best to keep up. A short time later, they were finally able to wrangle the runaway and return it to its owner. In Florida, a coyote somehow found itself perched on the ledge of a Fort Myers hotel parking deck for a couple of hours. Police, firefighters, and Fish and Wildlife all showed up and did their best to wrangle the wild animal. In the end, the coyote simply decided to safely slip back into the parking garage and run away. If that wasn't strange enough for you, take a gander at this house decked out in all things Stranger Things to celebrate the series' 5th and final season. Colorado teenager Jared Meisner is the creator of the Hawkins-inspired upside-down display.
10 out of 10 on Stranger Things fan.
It includes all the hits, a Demogorgon, the Mind Flayer, and Max suspended high above the ground. The Stranger Things shrine really shines at night. It's been given a Christmas twist so all fans can fan out all holiday long. For Take a Look at This Week, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Can you imagine being one of the police officers chasing that horse and having to explain that was your work day at the end of it? Well, now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
I'm sure some officers do come home with some interesting stories to tell. I'm sure lots of folks can sometimes come home with some interesting stories to tell. Well, you want to make sure you get home. And like I said, while we're not expecting major accumulations, slick spots are certainly a possibility across the area as wintry weather pushes in. Break down the details for you when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now, 6:20. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:22 on this Monday morning. We are showing you the KDOT camera at 69 on just north of Baxter Springs. Take a look. It's not a lot, but there are flurries beginning to actually fall and reach the ground. Since this thing's in night vision, it actually makes it a bit easier to see that. You can also see, though, it's not anything significant, but there are some flurries beginning to fall down south. MoDOT cameras around the metro just because it's next in our playlist. Really not much showing up here as of yet, but this will begin to change as we go through the morning. So now you can tell that some of this snow, not all of it yet, but some of it is starting to make its way to the ground. We've had dry air aloft, so what's happening is the radar is picking up on snow because it's seen high enough into the atmosphere, there's snow. The problem is with that dry layer in between, the snow's coming, evaporating, and then there's nothing actually underneath some of this, but the snow continuing to increase and will continue to do so, and also eventually for many of us transition to a bit of a wintry mix. In fact, if you watch around Oklahoma City, you can see some of those pink colors out there, and that's where we get into that freezing and mix category because we're looking at freezing rain, sleet, and snow as we head through the day. Now, in any other situation, that sounds like a nightmare, but it's not going to be a lot of any of those in terms of accumulations, but enough that slick spots are our main concern, really, across the area. In fact, and you can see Benton County has now been added to this winter weather advisory for northeastern Oklahoma. This runs till noon, and that's one of the main reasons the Tulsa Weather Office put this winter weather advisory out, was because of slick spots that were already being reported southwest of us on bridges and overpasses. Now, in our northwestern counties in southeast Kansas, these run until 6, and you could actually get some measurable snow, 1 to 2 inches out here, with heavier amounts, slightly heavier amounts up to our north. So that'll bring its own travel concerns as we head through the day. In fact, you can already see where we're starting to see some of those changes. Now, in our immediate area, KDOT still is clear. This is partially covered on that light blue, but again, for us right now, we're looking pretty good. On the MoDOT side of things, same situation. Kansas City, though, starting to report more snowfall actually reaching the ground up there, but still reporting clear roads, and same into our region out there. But of course, we'll monitor those road conditions for you. So here we go. By noon, we've got some slightly warmer temperatures in northeast Oklahoma. You're still below freezing, but we've got Grove and Jay, for example, this morning, I think are up to about 30, 31 degrees, while everybody else is still in the 20s. So you may briefly see some rain, like light rain, but it'll be brief. The majority of this should fall as a wintry type precipitation. The further into the afternoon and evening we go, we'll see this transition to snow. We get this band of snow, unfortunately, right at the evening commute along and north of I-44. Now, again, accumulation-wise, not expecting much, but some of the snow could momentarily be heavy, so you want to make sure as you're traveling, just being cautious and also watching out for those slick spots. By 8, though, the last of it's pushing through Berry County on its way out of here, and then we'll have partly cloudy skies and pretty cold temperatures overnight tomorrow, with clearing starting to take place on our Tuesday, and temperatures still pretty chilly, but warmer than what we're looking at today. All the computer models that are looking at the snow totals, this one is the one that seems to be the closest to accurate, and it lines up with those winter weather advisories where, again, Yates Center, for example, could reach up to 2 inches of snowfall, where most of us are looking at maybe a half inch to possibly an inch in some locations. So again, that's why we're not really worried about accumulation totals. It's more so just about it causing slick spots on the roadways out there. We're going to go upper 20s through the morning. Not a lot of movement on these temperatures. Our highs today, upper 20s, low 30s. So again, not a lot of movement. We'll be back down to upper teens, low 20s tonight. Upper 30s, low 40s for our Tuesday. A bit warmer on Wednesday, a little cooler for Thursday. Then mild heading into this upcoming weekend. Saturday looks great. So maybe if you didn't get the Christmas lights put up outside yet, Saturday so far looks to be a pretty good day to do that. And we'll be somewhat mild as we roll into next week. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. On Friday, a senior official at the FDA announced that the COVID-19 vaccine caused the deaths of at least 10 children. The internal memo claimed that research had shown that, quote, healthy young children who faced tremendously low risk of death were coerced at the behest of the Biden administration via school and work mandates to receive a vaccine that could result in death, end quote. While no details were provided surrounding how the FDA reached this conclusion, they did point to their analysis of 96 deaths, 10 of which were allegedly linked to the COVID-19 vaccination. And as a result, officials now say the vaccines will require more evidence of their safety and value before they can be marketed. New research suggests it's never too late to exercise when it comes to your brain health. Researchers studied data from more than 4,000 people. They found exercising during midlife may lower the risk of dementia by 41%. For those exercising during late life, the risk could be lowered by 45%. The study authors say physical activity level in early adult life weren't associated with dementia risk in either direction. However, a downside of the study is that it can't suggest how much exercise to do due to the measurement the researchers used. It's the time of year when the temperatures are dropping, and you may be tempted to stay on the couch rather than get out and move. But experts say getting exercise and having a healthy diet year-round is critical for health, even when you don't want to do it. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has ways to manage winter weight in the weeks ahead.
Add up colder weather, plus darker days, and all that comfort food. It can equal an unhealthy shift on the scale.
A lot of people sort of hunker down in the winter and stay inside a little bit more often.
Dr. Kathleen Moeller with the American Academy of Family Physicians says the first step to keeping a healthy weight in winter is to have a plan to work out. If you're an outdoor exerciser in warmer weather, consider getting a gym membership now so that you can start the habit of going when the temperatures drop even further. Or just add ways into your day to move more.
That can be taking the stairs, that can be walking farther from the parking lot into the grocery store. Any bit of movement helps.
With all the winter holidays, we tend to be surrounded by foods we don't normally eat. Mueller says to tackle the temptation to overindulge by having healthy options and allowing that to be your default.
So a veggie platter in addition to the cheese and crackers, and just make sure that we're going towards the veggie platter a little more often.
Finally, Mueller says to remind yourself why you want to maintain a healthy weight. It's not just about how we look, but how we feel now and in the future.
Being a healthy weight reduces your risk of inflammatory conditions, cardiovascular disease, and cancers. We also just are able to move longer through our lifespan and have a longer health span if we maintain a healthy weight throughout our lives.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, the president's approval rating hits its lowest point of his second term, and it's 6:30.
And take a look at our cameras. You can kind of see it behind this, but the snow starting to fall, light snow at least. We're going to break down details, talk about those winter weather advisories and what we're expecting coming up.
Plus, the D.C. shooting suspect now faces murder charges after National Guard member Sarah Beckstrom dies from her injuries.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KLEM Morning News. It's 6:33. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Monday, December the 1st. It was a Monday to start our show. This morning we had a wasp in the studio, and it's December to start because we got some wintry weather out there today.
Yes, you know, I walked outside and I was like, it is cold. It feels like winter. We went so long where we had like 50-degree temperatures, 60-degree days in November, and it didn't feel like November. And I'm like, it feels like December.
It certainly does feel like December. Now, not to spoil things, but about mid-month or a little before, long-range data, it gets long-range data, is suggesting it actually warms up quite a bit for a moment. Now, that concerns me because the last time it did that, we ended up with the ice storm, and that was in 2007. The last time we had really mild, weird weather in December. Now, I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying it's long-range data suggests it's going to warm up. We'll worry about that in a couple more weeks. In the meantime, we've got some winter weather to deal with today, and we've got some of that light snow beginning to work into the area. First, a live look downtown Pittsburgh, where so far, so good. Not much actually happening out there, and we'll show you why. We'll tell you why as well, why we're not seeing too much across the region yet. Our camera's 7th and range line. That street light there is usually a good indicator if anything's falling. I don't see anything in it at this time. However, the Baxter Springs camera had switched to color mode because this car is passing by. It should take just a second, so you can't really see anything on it right now. We can only wait a couple of seconds here. I can't spend all day. I was hoping it'd switch back to black and white mode, but it's not going to. We got too much traffic starting to build. Well, anyway, we're getting more light snow that's beginning to show up here from that camera around back. This is just north of Baxter Springs on 69. Now you can see as well, it's not covering anything by any means, but it is starting to fall. Our KDOT cameras, these 69 and 400, this is 171 looking back toward Missouri. Can't really see anything falling at this point yet either. And same from the MoDOT cameras around the metro area, not seeing too much yet, but that will begin to change. So here's a Skywatch storm tracker, and it looks like there should be some heavy snow in Joplin and Pittsburgh, doesn't it? But there's not, and that's because we've had this dry air aloft. And so what we've got is the radar is detecting the snow up in the upper levels, in the clouds. But then in between, we've got this dry air, and so the snow's falling, evaporating. By the time it reaches the ground, you're not seeing anything. But as we have mentioned around the Baxter Springs area, we're starting to see that. So roughly, I'd say this zone is probably starting to actually see snowfall reach the ground. Now, we're not worried, despite how this may look, about significant accumulations. Our biggest concern is going to be with slick spots from where this gets on the roadways, people drive, it melts a bit, and then it freezes because it's going to be really cold today. We do have winter weather advisories now in our northwestern counties here in Kansas. These run until 6, and you could actually get a couple of inches of snow up here, and that does include Yates Center. Now, Oklahoma and Arkansas, these run until noon, and it's primarily for the travel impact concerns with slick spots and freezing, especially on bridges and overpasses. So that's why, again, that's our primary concern is going to be travel impacts. We're sitting at 26 in Joplin, 27 in Pittsburgh. Very cold start to the day. Most of us into the mid to upper 20s. Stockton a little cooler at 24. We've got a whole string of 30s into northeastern Oklahoma, which is why Future Track believes you might warm just a bit above freezing and briefly see a transition to rain, but it would be very brief. Most of this will be freezing rain, sleet, and snow before it transitions to snow later this afternoon into the early evening. Now, some of these snow bands could be a bit heavy at times, but again, it's going to move out pretty quickly, and it's going to be dry enough that we're, again, not worried about significant accumulations across the region. So kids out the door, most of us are cloudy, some of us starting to get light snow. We're 27. We'll go about 30 with that wintry mix by lunch and recess, 31 as they head home. And that's the other side of what I was talking about with more so the travel impacts. It's just that it's going to be cold. Temperatures don't move much. We're looking at highs ultimately upper 20s, low 30s. There's not a lot of movement here. Some good news, the winds will be calm, so you don't have to worry about that. But cold, some wintry weather, slick spots certainly a concern. We'll talk more about this snow, take a look at what's going on, road conditions, and what happens once this snow does move out here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. A Gallup survey found only 36% of Americans approve of the job the president is doing. 60% of people oppose his handling of the job. This is the lowest approval rating of the president's second term in office. The survey was conducted between November 3rd and November 25th. This was around of the time of the year when off the election and the federal government shutdown. The poll shows Republicans and independents' ratings of the president have dropped since last month. Republican approval of the president has fallen 7 points to 84%, while only 25% of independents approve of the president. In the aftermath of a National Guard member's death following a shooting in Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump is escalating his immigration crackdown. This comes as the U.S. Attorney for D.C. announces the shooting suspect will now face a murder charge. Leah Waldman has the latest.
The day after 20-year-old National Guard member Sarah Beckstrom died from her gunshot injuries, her loved ones are trying to cope with the loss.
Kind of hard to believe, more type. I don't know if it's really hit me the hardest yet. Kind of in shock.
Another National Guard member, Sergeant Andrew Wolf, is critically wounded. The shooting suspect has been identified as an Afghan national who first came to the U.S. in September 2021, shortly after the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Kabul.
There are certainly many more charges to come, but we are upgrading the initial charges of assault to murder in the first degree.
The suspect was one of more than 190,000 Afghans admitted to the U.S. under Operation Allies Welcome and Enduring Welcome, according to the State Department. In the wake of the shooting, President Donald Trump has called for an even more intense immigration crackdown.
This heinous atrocity reminds us that we have no greater national security priority than ensuring that we have full control over the people that enter and remain in our country. For the most part, we don't want them.
Trump added he would, quote, permanently pause migration from all third world countries, but didn't specify which countries he's referring to. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey says he'll continue to support the mission of the state's National Guard members in Washington, D.C.
When you have these terrorists, when you have these evildoers, you're not going to back down when these people try to go after our servicemen and women.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, millions of SNAP recipients face new work requirements to keep food benefits. Plus, Cyber Monday brings record spending according to Adobe Analytics. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. In Consumer Watch, millions of SNAP food benefit recipients may soon have to meet new work rules to keep their benefits. The Republican-backed Big Beautiful Bill now requires at least 80 hours of activity each month for a much wider group of people. A Congressional Budget Office report says that will mean 2.4 million fewer people getting benefits on average each month. States are reporting confusion, rushed timelines, and technology systems not ready to implement the change. As a result, some residents could lose food aid as soon as January. State officials warn the full impact will unfold as recipients hit their next recertification deadlines. From a year ago, according to Adobe Analytics, Cyber Monday bargains are also expected to bring record spending today. Cybersecurity experts are, however, warning shoppers to beware of online scams, from bogus bargains that look too good to be true to misspelled URL scam sites and sites asking for alternative payment forms. That's it for Consumer Watch, and now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are starting to see some of that light snow pushing into the area, and we're not expecting to get any major accumulations today. However, slick spots are going to be a big possibility, especially bridges and overpasses. We'll talk about what we're expecting with this wintry weather. We'll look at those winter weather advisories and talk about what happens beyond the snow when the KOAM Morning News returns. We'll also have birthdays and anniversaries right after this. Time now 6:44. We'll be right back. All right, it is time for some Monday birthdays and anniversaries. We're going to start with Nash Savenberg, celebrating birthday number 3 with Happy Birthday Love coming from Dad, Mom, and Owen.
And in Erie, Kansas, Briar Robinson is celebrating birthday number 7. Happy birthday, Briar.
And we have Boston Incarnation celebrating birthday number 18 in Girard. Happy birthday.
And in Liberal, West Meadows is celebrating birthday number 42. The note says, "We love you, West Man," from Mom, Dad, and Meemaw. Happy birthday, Wes.
And in St. Paul, Lisa Holding celebrating birthday number 50 today with happy birthday wishes coming from your family.
And in Columbus, Laura Green is celebrating birthday number 78. Happy birthday, Laura.
And we've got Steve Almond in Fort Scott celebrating another year wiser. A very happy birthday to you, Steve, and a happy birthday to all of you on our list. And if you would like to celebrate with us, it is super simple. Sam, what should they do?
They should pay attention to that email they can see on their screen right now. birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com, and they can send those birthdays, those anniversaries, the photos they may want to include to that email. But make sure you pay attention to that deadline on your screen so we can make sure we get it in plenty of time to be able to celebrate you on your special day.
Very important information there, and we have some important weather information for you. So we're looking at a lot of stuff, just like at some of the latest updates on our snowfall. And so from what I've been reading, some data is suggesting we might get slightly higher snow amounts in some locations. But as of right now, we're just keeping it with what the expectation has been. So it looks like, too, that there's a lot of snow out there. There's not that much yet. I just got a message from my wife. They're waiting on our youngest's bus, and she said it's just starting to ice or snow or something is what she said. It's still dark out, of course, and so just starting to get some of that precip in Joplin. We've seen it from the KDOT camera near Baxter Springs. As I mentioned, across a good portion of the area this morning, we've had very dry air in between the snow and the ground. And so what we've got is the radar picking up on snow in the clouds, in the upper levels. Then we get this dry air layer right in between, and so the snow falls, evaporates, and it's not been reaching the ground. But it is starting to do so, and you saw this update, as this continues to push off to the north and east. We do have some winter weather advisories in place, and we'll talk about that and our snow totals here in just a moment. But here's what we've got. Again, not all of this necessarily reaching the ground, but this snow will continue to increase in coverage across the area and bring us at least some. And again, right now we're not expecting major accumulations by any means, but it is something we will monitor. The best chances for measurable snow are in our northwestern counties, where this winter weather advisory runs through 6, and you could see 1 to 2 inches of snow in these locations, and that does include Burlington, Garnett, Yates Center, Eureka. Then we head down into Oklahoma, Arkansas, covered by the Tulsa Weather Service office, and this winter weather advisory runs through noon, and that is primarily for the potential for slick spots on roadways, because the Tulsa office, they issued this just after 4 a.m. They said they were starting to get reports down to the southwest before the snow started lifting further northeast of slick spots, especially on bridges and overpasses. And as of right now, it's going to be impacts to some road conditions that are our biggest concern. But again, it's not going to be road conditions everywhere deteriorating into nightmarish levels, but we could get slick spots out there. Right now, again, KDOT in our immediate area is reporting that these roads are still clear. And honestly, from the KDOT camera, while that light snow has been picking up just a bit, it's not sticking to anything right now. So clear roadways out there. On the Missouri side, the Kansas City area, we're starting to see some of those partly covered roadways up there. But as for us, again, we are still clear, but we will continue to monitor road conditions throughout the morning. Now, we have some slightly warmer spots, still below freezing, Grove, Veneta, Newata, but you might warm up just a hair above freezing, long enough to see a momentary transition to some rain. Future Track seems to believe so, and honestly, looking at temperature trends, it might momentarily turn into rain, but then it will revert back to wintry weather. And we're looking at a wintry mix for a good portion of the day, so we're talking freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Then, as we head late into the afternoon and evening, temperatures, although they don't move much at all today, they'll start to cool back down. And as they do so, we should see this begin to transition into just snow. And we're looking at this little snow band that's going to start to push through. It's along and north of I-44 by the 5 o'clock rush. Of course, why wouldn't it be? It's going to move pretty quickly, but it could produce some heavier pockets of snow. Now, again, shouldn't add up to much on the ground, but could lead to slightly reduced visibilities and, again, slick spots in some areas. As cars travel today, things will fall on the road, they'll melt a bit, and then when things calm down, they'll start to freeze. So again, that's our biggest concern, is for those slick spots. By 8, this band already getting ready to exit Berry County, and we should be pretty well done at that point with any kind of snowfall across the area. We'll go partly cloudy overnight and have mostly clear to partly cloudy skies as we head into our Tuesday. In terms of those snowfall totals, again, this computer, there's many of them out there, and some of them have some differing views, but this one seems to be so far on point with expectations right now. That's why, again, these winter weather advisories up here, because again, you could get 1 to 2 inches of snow. Not a ton of snow, but a couple inches of actual meaningful snow. Outside of that, we're talking a dusting, half inch, maybe an inch, if you get into a slightly heavier snow band, just long enough for it to actually do something. So again, not a major concern with accumulations today, but still could lead to slick spots across the region. Our camera 7th and range line. In fact, now I told you this street light is a good indicator for us of whatever is falling, and if you look close enough, we've got some flurries beginning to fall here at 7th and range line. We'll have that wintry mix through the morning, and this is what I was talking about too. Temperatures, they don't move much. We're going to go into the upper 20s and just kind of hover there. We're going to have another look at your forecast here in just a moment, as well as your wake up recap, and we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m. As the weather gets colder, got a Missouri teen who's made it her mission to make sure people have what they need to stay warm, and now she started her own nonprofit. We'll have that story and a lot more at 7 a.m.
This is your Wake Up Recap for December 1st, your top stories to start your day. Video sent to KOAM from Commerce resident Kylie Waters shows the flames as they burst out of the side of a house on Saturday. Waters says as she opened her front door, she could feel the heat from the fire. The home was reported as vacant, and public works crews have torn down the house in the interest of public safety. No injuries from this incident have been reported. Despite the weather, community members gathered in Pittsburgh for the annual tree lighting ceremony this weekend. The free event, hosted by the city in downtown Pittsburgh, took place at the Pritchett Pavilion. The holiday program featured the tree lighting, photos with Santa and Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and others. The 20-foot tree will remain up throughout the holiday season for the whole community to enjoy. That's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And we've got light snow beginning to fall across more portions of the area. It looks like there's a lot out there, not quite yet. More wintry weather on the way as we head through today. A reminder, we do have winter weather advisories. Our northwestern counties in Kansas until 6, where you could see up to 2 inches of snow. Oklahoma, Arkansas, these will run through noon. And again, our biggest concern really across the whole region is just going to be the potential for some travel impacts, as we could get some slick spots as people head out and the stuff starts to melt as it starts to stick and then refreezes later. And this is why, take a look at our forecast. Upper 20s, low 30s for our highs today. Upper teens, low 20s tonight. Upper 30s, low 40s tomorrow. A little milder on Wednesday. Cool again Thursday. Pretty good looking into the weekend. So again, we're not expecting a major snow event, but slick spots are definitely a concern as you head out today into tonight. So just be cautious.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
Certainly so.
Well, thanks, Chris. Coming up today at noon, we're making blueberry zucchini bread in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Morning. Cyber Monday is here, but beware, this is a big day for fraudsters as well. Ahead on CBS Morning's behind-the-scenes look at how one credit card company is trying to stay one step ahead, of the scammers.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we learn more about the upcoming 75th Annual Pancake Day, which helps support children's organizations in the area.
Plus, we're going to sit down with Charity Lane Qualls, a local teacher and now author who has recently published her first book. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll have more wintry weather coverage as it comes in on Fox 14 at 7 and be back here tomorrow morning bright and early at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.